There's this guy, Avi Loeb, who's a professor out of Harvard, who is saying that some of these objects that we're seeing in space, they're moving in very bizarre ways. They're enormous. They have much more mass and much more speed. They're interstellar objects, and he's speculating whether or not they're alien.
We got one passing by pretty soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been following that one a little bit.
Yeah, this is one of the ones he's talking about.
They think it's a spaceship.
They think it's something. Whatever it is.
For it to come outside of our solar system on this path is just very bizarre.
Very bizarre, but other astronomers say, but it just might be unique.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of stuff in space they're finding through the James Webb Telescope that they didn't understand. So they had this idea of the universe being 13.7 or whatever it is billion years old. But now they're finding these galaxies that were formed far too quickly, after the Big Bang. And so now they're starting to say, well, this might be an indication that it's quite a bit older, and that maybe it's not maybe the Big Bang is not 13.7 billion years, but that's just as far back as we can look. And as they get better and better equipment and better ways of looking, they'll be able to find more evidence and more information that gives them more questions and less answers. It's really weird. It's like, there's a quote by Dennis McKenna, and he said that once the bonfire of knowledge expands, the surface layer of ignorance is exposed. More of a surface layer of ignorance. So the more you see and the more you learn, the more you realize, I don't know shit. And that's what they're kind of finding out about space. It's like they know a lot, but they don't know a lot in comparison to what's out there.
More questions pop up than answers.
Yeah, I mean, it might be.
It's just wild too how much of that we were taught in school is like fact, and then you grow up and like, wait a minute, we don't really know what's going on.
I didn't even know there was dwarf planets in our solar system.
Yeah.
There's planets that aren't regular planets, but I didn't learn about those.
I might have learned that 3 years ago.
It's pretty wild to think that they're
I'm 32.
that they're there and we never learned about them.
Yeah.
Well, there's also speculation there's something big that's outside of the Kuiper Belt. There's like some other planet that it might even be a dwarf star, or what is it called? I forget what they're called, a brown dwarf. But that we might have a binary star system, and that the star might have died off, and it's like in a far outside of our own sun, outside of that orbit.
Wow.
So there's this thing called the Kuiper Belt that's outside of Pluto, and it's a belt of objects, and that's one of the reasons why Pluto got declassified as a planet, because it is a little too small to be a planet, and it seems like there's a lot of these objects out there, and then they found a couple more, and they're saying, okay, it's not a planet, but there seems to be a drop-off after that, which indicates something that is of a large mass exists.
Interesting.
But it's a little too far for us to be able to look at right now, so it's a lot of just speculation.
I am not comfortable with this Comet Atlas.
I know.
And like, you know,
We've got Avi Loeb coming on to talk about it.
He's amazing. I had him on my podcast a long time ago. He put up with my ass.
A lot of people in the beginning were saying that it's bullshit, it's a comet, why is he saying this? He's risking his reputation. But then as time's going on, they're going, well, this is weird. This thing's really weird.
Well, okay, first of all, it's important to note that one thing that titillates my dumbass is it just so happens the government shutdown coincides with when we could use the satellites on Mars to get pictures of that fucking thing. So we're not getting pictures. They did release a picture of it yesterday.
Wait a minute. The government shutdown is stopping us from getting pictures of this thing?
Yes.
That's insane.
That's insane. Now
that's so insane. They should open that up.
I mean, it seems like that's really weird. Did you see the images that just came in though? The Europeans got an image of it.
It's weird looking.
It's weird looking, but I don't know what a comet looks like. So
I don't know what a comet looks like, and I don't know why it's weirder than other comets.
But it does seem like it's going. It's like rolling in a weird way, but it's the gas, right? It's like it's what it's releasing is the weird part.
Well, the weird part is coming from the same part of the universe where the WOW signal came from.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird.
That's fucking weird.
That's weird. Because that WOW signal, what was it, like 70 seconds long? Some very strange coded signal that was 70 seconds long.
You know what else is weird is Jeremy Corbell said a bunch of people are going to start saying there's a mothership coming to Earth and don't believe him. Remember he was saying that?
Yeah, what's that all about? Why did he know that?
I don't know.
You got to tell people why you know something like that. You can't just say that.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like, how do you know? What Nixon was doing was just a version of that. Or not even Nixon doing, but what the crime was a version of that, listening in on your opponents. They probably all listen to each other now.
Right.
They probably all hack into each other's email. They probably hire hackers to hack into
Right.
each other's phones and hack into each other's emails and shit. And, you know, they do that, man. That's just, it's a dirty game.
I mean, they've turned that dirty political game into like life. Like you said, if I know you, my phone is hacked. Or just is it the NSA? Or
who knows? There's probably organizations that are new that we don't even know of.
Right.
You know, they're like, too many people know about the CIA. Let's branch out.
Yeah.
Like,
let's come up with something new.
Yeah, and you need intelligence agencies because the world is a dirty, dark place filled with monsters, and a lot of them we put there. But they're still monsters. And like, look, I'm sorry we got monsters, but we have to fucking have a wall and arm the turrets. Trump executive order quietly declared that NASA is now a spy agency. What?
How?
About that?
Not?
Yeah, this happened a couple weeks ago.
What? They spy from space?
I don't know.
What does it mean?
The executive order came out, and there's just a redesignation, I think, of what NASA is officially.
What does that mean?
I don't know. That's it could be nonsense, or it could mean something important. You know.
Is this a legit
did they
news
change
source?
the name of it?
No, it's still called NASA, as far as I know. But yeah, here.
The order stipulates the agency will now have as a primary function intelligence, counterintelligence, investigative, or national security work. What? Why would they do that? The major departure for the agency was historically focused on space exploration, as well as space and earth sciences over its 67-year lifespan. Not to mention that science and exploration stuff, NASA Watch founder Keith Cowling, former scientist and at the agency, now closely follows its internal and external politics, wrote in a blog post, there are signs that Trump's intentions behind the order were at least partially related to labor concerns rather than spycraft. The order also added that NASA to the Federal Service Labor Management Relations Statute, excluding it from collective bargaining representation. Ooh. The news that NASA will now be a spy agency was seemingly overshadowed in the media by the president's elimination of union rights for thousands of federal employees mere days before Labor Day, despite multiple lawsuits challenging the change. I wonder if this is because of private space companies, because they're so far ahead. Like Blue Origin is far ahead of what NASA does. Tesla, SpaceX is very far ahead of anything that they do. It's almost like you leave it in the hands of private companies. They could do a better job of space anyway.
And then turn NASA into this?
No, I don't like. Why are you doing that?
I
The
feel
last
like
thing we need is more
spying
more
shit.
spies.
But I feel like when you turn something into a spy agency, it already was.
Right.
And you're just like, let's just make it official.
Right. They put satellites in overhead.
Right. And when we watch movies and they're like looking at parts of other countries to try to track down the villain in the movie, like they're giving away kind of what's really happening.
Oh, for sure.
So it is basically a spy, organization.
Well, if they're launching spy satellites, they're a spy organization.
Right.
Right? If NASA's launching satellites, that's mostly what they're launching. They're not putting anybody on other planets anymore, allegedly. And they're not doing anything with the space shuttle anymore. So what are they doing? Why not be a spy agency? Gotta stay open.
Yeah, and they
gotta move around, boys. Can't be Blockbuster forever.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they took them into a room and they said, listen, aliens are real. These spaceships we have are all bullshit. We have a couple years left. Well, so use it for something else. We're not going to travel to the moon anymore. Settle down.
I mean, I'm just, even the alien shit, like, I believe in aliens. I don't really got a lot of proof, but the denial of it is my proof.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The harsh denial. And just like how we were talking about back in the day, if you didn't like the guy that everybody liked, they ostracized you. If you believed in aliens, they ostracized you.
Oh, yeah.
And everything from it's like, remember when they used to teach us, you got to drink milk, strengthens your bones. Then you realize milk past a certain amount of time, if you keep drinking it, is bad for you. Like everything that was bad for you is good for you, and everything that was good for you we find out it's bad for you.
You came on my radar when you were discussing Oumuamua. Is that how I
Yes,
say it?
that's the right.
Oumuamua, which is an object that we detected in space that you believe could possibly have been extraterrestrial in origin, meaning from some sort of a civilization.
Right.
Yeah. Why did you? Please explain to people what Oumuamua is, why it's so extraordinary, and why you think it's possible that it came from some other intelligent civilization.
Right. So I'm a scientist, and I basically follow the evidence, just like Sherlock Holmes, trying to find solutions. It's a detective story. You have some anomalies, some things that don't quite match what you expected, and you're trying to find an explanation. And the thing about Oumuamua is that it was discovered on October 19th, 2017, a little more than 3 years ago. And it was the very first object that visited our vicinity in the solar system from outside the solar system. It moved too fast to be bound to the sun. Very first object that we have found coming to us from interstellar space, from other places. And at first, astronomers said, oh yeah, it's probably just like the objects we had in our solar system, all the rocks that we have seen before. We've seen comets and asteroids. So a comet is a rock that is covered with ice, water ice. So when it gets close to the sun, the surface gets warmed up and the ice turns into vapor, gas. And you see this beautiful cometary tail behind it. That's what a comet is. An asteroid is just rock without much ice on it. Actually, the first person to explain what comets are was at Harvard, the university that I am affiliated with. And the story goes that, it was Fred Whipple, that he went to Harvard Square and saw all the slush during a winter day, and came up with the idea that it's just icy rock or icy rocks or, rocky ice. And that's what a comet is. And the comets come to us from the periphery of the solar system. And, astronomers said, okay, other stars may have them as well. And, since they are loosely bound, if they are in the periphery, they can be easily ripped apart from their host star. And some of them will fly in our direction. We will see them. So they said, Oumuamua is probably a comet. The only problem is there wasn't any cometary tail. So you look for a duck, but it doesn't look like a duck, So then the question is, what is it? And so people said, okay, it's just a rock without any ice on it. Then the problem was that it exhibited an extra push away from the sun. And usually you get it from the rocket effect, that when you make the cometary tail, it pushes the object in the opposite direction, just like a jet plane. A jet plane works by throwing gas out, and that's pushing you forward. So a comet has an extra push when it evaporates. But there was no cometary tail, so why did it show an extra push? That was the key question in my mind, at which point I started thinking, maybe it's not a comet and not an asteroid, something else, And the other strange thing about it, it changes its brightness by a factor of 10 or more. And the brightness of the object, the light that we see, is simply reflected sunlight. So just think about it. Think about a piece of paper, razor-thin piece of paper, tumbling in the wind, and changing the area that we can see, the projected area of that piece of paper, by a factor of 10 as we look at it. That's exactly what we inferred from this object, spinning around every 8 hours, but changing its brightness by a factor of 10, meaning that the area projected on the sky that we see, that reflects sunlight, changed by a factor of 10. So that means it has an extreme geometry.
Do you hear about that fucking object that's hurtling towards Earth at like 130,000 miles an hour?
No, that might solve all our problems.
Some intergalactic object that's hurt. There's this guy, Avi Loeb. He's a professor at Harvard that believes it might be an alien probe.
Wow.
And he was talking about the odds of this thing being in the trajectory that it is, entering into our solar system in a direct path with Earth. The odds are extremely low. And at the place where it's doing it, it's when the Earth is the opposite side of the sun, so it's coming from behind the sun. and it's so it makes it difficult to detect, and that this object is in a direct line to come to Earth in 2027.
Do they have a trajectory of where it's going to land?
I don't think they totally know that yet. I think they're trying to calculate whether or not it's actually going to hit Earth or come near Earth or pass by Earth or what it is. Like,
why do they think it's an alien satellite or whatever?
Well, there's this guy, Avi Loeb, this professor that I'm discussing. He also had an analysis of another object that passed by Earth a few years back that they named, and they said that this thing had a very bizarre metallic sort of a look to it that he did not think, based on the shape of it and the way it was traveling, that it was natural. So he thought that that could have been some sort of an alien craft as well. I don't know. It's too fun. It's too fun.
But as it gets closer, we could probably decipher.
Scientists give chilling update on mysterious interstellar object racing through our solar system as they warn it's even bigger than we thought. Provide a chilling update on a mysterious interstellar object that's racing through our solar system. Using data from the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, experts have revealed just how big the object dubbed 31 Atlas really is. According to their analysis, the object measures roughly 7 miles in diameter. Holy fuck. How big is New York City? Bigger than Mount Everest, making it the largest interstellar object ever spotted. Professor Avi Loeb, theoretical physicist and cosmologist from Harvard University, suggested the object could be an alien spacecraft. However, not everyone is convinced. Chris Lintott, an astronomer at the University of Oxford, told Live Science any suggestion that it's artificial is nonsense and nonsense on stilts. He added that these claims are an insult to the exciting work going on to understand this object. But Harvard's legit, and Avi Loeb is a legit astronomer.
Right. I mean, let's not rule anything out.
Yeah.
As it gets closer.
There's something about it, about the way it's traveling, that it's bizarre. But it doesn't have a trail like a comet does.
Right.
Scroll up a little so I can see that. The images of the comet were actually snapped by the Vera C. Rubin before it was officially discovered. However, since it was identified on July 1st, just a little bit ago, scientists have scoured back through data to find out more about the mysterious object. New study published on RXIV, whatever that is. More than 200 researchers have confirmed the likely size of the comet's main body, known as its nucleus. Their analysis suggests the nucleus has a radius of around 3.5 miles. That translates to a diameter or width of about 7 miles. To put that in perspective, bigger than Mount Everest, twice the size of Mount Kilimanjaro.
If you try to interpret the light that it reflected over as it was tumbling around, and so a flat object about the size of a football field that has an extra push. If it were a comet, it needed to lose about 1/10 of its weight. So a lot of evaporation. You can't just say, oh, it's a little bit of evaporation and therefore that's why we don't see it. It should have lost 1/10 of its weight. You know, if we go on a diet and lose 1/10 of our weight, that's a big chunk of mass, right? So this object didn't lose that because we didn't see it. And the Spitzer Space Telescope looked very deeply behind it to see if there are any traces of dust or gas. Didn't see anything. So then, just like Sherlock Holmes, I was trying to think together with a postdoc of mine, Shmuel Bialy, what could explain it? And the only thing that came to mind is reflecting sunlight. So the object itself is being pushed by the sunlight reflecting off its surface. And that would agree with everything we know about the object, but in order for it to work, the object needs to be very thin, like a sail, the sail on a boat. So a sail is pushed by a wind, but you can also push an object, a thin object, by light, and that is called the light sail. And we're actually using this technology now, developing it for space exploration. The big advantage is you don't need to carry the fuel with the spacecraft. You just reflect light off it and it's being pushed.
There was a science fiction movie that did something like that. I think it was called Sunlight.
Quite possibly. I should mention an anecdote. In September, just a few months ago, in September 2020, there was another object that showed an extra push, no cometary tail. And then astronomers gave it a name 2020 SO, okay, September 2020. And then they extrapolated back in time and found that it came from Earth, actually. And then they looked at the history books and saw that indeed there was a rocket booster from a lunar lander that was kicked into space. And this is the object. Now, why did it show this push? Because it's a very thin structure. So here is an example where we can tell it's artificial. And we know that we made it. But Oumuamua could not have been made by us because it was passing near us just for a few months, very quickly, faster than any rocket that we can launch. That's why we couldn't really chase it when it was receding away from us. And it came from outside the solar system. So, I just do 1 + 1 = 2. I say, okay, it looks very peculiar. Maybe it belongs to another civilization.
Oumuamua is so weird, I wish it never existed.
The vastness of space has always captured the human imagination. Every year, we make discoveries about celestial objects that challenge our understanding of the universe. But every so often, something truly extraordinary happens that leaves scientists, astronomers, and even the general public in awe. One such event was the discovery of Oumuamua, the first known interstellar object to pass through our solar system back in 2017. Yet, as groundbreaking as that discovery was, a new revelation has emerged that is far more unsettling. Joe Rogan, the famous podcaster known for diving into uncharted territories of thought, has brought attention to images and data from astronomers that could change everything we thought we knew about the cosmos. A new object, eerily similar to Oumuamua, has been identified. But this time, it's on a potential collision course with Earth. What does this mean for humanity? How credible is this information? And most importantly, how should we prepare? Let's unravel the mystery together. To understand why this discovery is so shocking, we need to go back to the original Oumuamua. Discovered in October 2017, this peculiar object was unlike anything seen before. It was elongated, cigar-shaped, and moved through space at an incredible speed. It didn't behave like a typical asteroid or comet, leading to countless theories about its nature. Some scientists believed it could be a fragment of a distant planet, while others speculated it might even be an alien spacecraft. But while the world debated its origins, Oumuamua passed through our solar system and disappeared into the void of space. Fast forward to 2023. Astronomers began to notice another interstellar object entering our solar system. Initially, it seemed to be a regular celestial body. But as data poured in, it became clear that this object shared uncanny similarities with Oumuamua. Once again, its shape, speed, and trajectory defied conventional understanding. And then in late 2024, a team of scientists analyzing its path made a startling discovery. The object was on a direct course toward Earth. Joe Rogan, always quick to dive into the latest mysteries, invited a panel of experts including physicists, astronomers, and futurists to his podcast to discuss the implications of this discovery. The images and data shared during the discussion painted a chilling picture. The new Oumuamua-like object, now unofficially dubbed Oumuamua 2, was unlike anything humanity had prepared for. One of the key points of discussion was its trajectory. While objects on a collision course with Earth are not uncommon, most of them are small meteoroids that burn up in our atmosphere. Oumuamua 2, however, is much larger. Estimates suggest it could be over 800 meters in length, significantly larger than its predecessor. Its shape, similar to a giant elongated slab, has led to comparisons with science fiction concepts of alien probes or interstellar vessels. But what's even more concerning is its speed. Traveling at over 200,000 kilometers per hour, it's moving too fast for our current space technology to intercept or study up close. During the podcast, Rogan posed a question that's on everyone's mind. Is Oumuamua 2 a natural object, or could it be something else entirely? To answer this, we need to examine the anomalies surrounding its behavior. Unlike traditional asteroids, which follow predictable paths influenced by gravity, Oumuamua 2 seems to exhibit non-gravitational acceleration. This means its movement cannot be fully explained by the forces we currently understand. Some scientists theorize that this could be due to outgassing, a process where materials inside the object are expelled, creating a kind of propulsion. However, no such outgassing has been observed in the images and data. So, what's causing this strange acceleration? The possibility of extraterrestrial origin is not as far-fetched as it might seem. Renowned Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb was one of the first to suggest that the original Oumuamua could be an alien probe. With the arrival of Oumuamua 2, this theory has gained renewed attention. Could these objects be part of a larger network of interstellar probes sent to explore or even monitor different star systems? And if so, what does their trajectory toward Earth signify? Another critical topic discussed on Rogan's podcast was the potential impact of Oumuamua 2 if it were to collide with Earth. The energy released by such an impact would be catastrophic, far exceeding that of the asteroid that caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. Scientists estimate that an object of this size could release energy equivalent to millions of nuclear bombs, creating a global catastrophe that would alter the planet's climate and potentially wipe out a significant portion of life on Earth. But before we jump to conclusions, it's important to consider the steps being taken by the scientific community. Space agencies like NASA, ESA, and others have begun monitoring Oumuamua 2 closely. The challenge lies in its speed and trajectory, which make it difficult to study in detail. Unlike asteroids in our solar system, which can be reached with current spacecraft, interstellar objects like Oumuamua 2 require entirely new technologies to intercept. One potential solution discussed on the podcast is the use of nuclear propulsion systems. These systems, still in the experimental phase, could potentially send a spacecraft fast enough to catch up with Oumuamua 2. But even if we manage to study it, there's the question of whether we could do anything to alter its course. Deflecting an object of this size and speed would be a monumental challenge, requiring unprecedented levels of international cooperation and technological innovation. As the discussion progressed, Rogan delved into the philosophical and existential questions raised by this discovery. What if Oumuamua 2 is indeed an alien probe? How should humanity respond to the potential arrival of an interstellar visitor? Are we prepared for the implications of contact with an advanced civilization? And if it's not alien in origin, what does its presence say about the nature of our universe and the objects that inhabit it? One of the most intriguing points raised was the timing of Oumuamua 2's arrival. In the grand scale of the universe, the chances of two interstellar objects entering our solar system within such a short time frame are astronomically low. This has led some to speculate that there might be a deeper significance to their appearance. Could it be a coincidence, or are we witnessing the first signs of a larger phenomenon? As we approach 2025, the world is watching closely. Governments, scientists, and private space companies are racing against time to gather as much information as possible about Oumuamua 2. Meanwhile, the public is left to grapple with the implications of this discovery. Social media is abuzz with theories ranging from doomsday predictions to hopeful visions of alien contact. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in between. Joe Rogan's podcast has become a hub for these discussions, bringing together voices from all sides of the debate. Whether you're a skeptic, a believer in extraterrestrial life, or simply someone fascinated by the mysteries of the universe, Oumuamua 2 is a topic that captures the imagination. It challenges our understanding of space, our place in the cosmos, and the limits of human knowledge. In the coming months, we can expect new revelations and insights as scientists continue to study this enigmatic object. But for now, we are left with more questions than answers. What is Oumuamua 2? Why is it here? And what does its journey through our solar system mean for humanity? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the universe is far stranger and more complex than we ever imagined. And as we stand on the brink of a new era in space exploration, Discoveries like Oumuamua 2 remind us of the infinite possibilities that await. As scientists analyze the peculiar characteristics of Oumuamua 2, one of the most urgent challenges is understanding its composition. Unlike typical asteroids or comets that are composed of rock, ice, or a mix of both, Oumuamua 2 displays properties that don't match anything previously observed. Its reflectivity is particularly baffling. High-resolution imagery suggests that the surface of Oumuamua 2 is unusually shiny, almost metallic, which could hint at a surface covered with a dense layer of unknown material. This strange metallic sheen has fueled speculation about its artificial origins. One of the most provocative theories, championed by Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, is that Oumuamua 2 might be a derelict spacecraft or even a fragment of alien technology drifting through space. Loeb, who has been vocal about the potential for extraterrestrial life, suggests that the object's peculiar characteristics, including its lack of outgassing, are consistent with a manufactured structure rather than a naturally occurring body. Could this new discovery finally be the definitive proof humanity has been searching for? But the metallic composition is only part of the mystery. Early observations also indicate strange magnetic disturbances surrounding the object. Instruments aboard space-based telescopes and ground-based observatories have recorded irregular magnetic signatures that seem to emanate from Oumuamua 2. These signals are faint but consistent, leading to speculation about what could be causing them. If this is a natural object, it's possible that its core contains materials with unusual magnetic properties. However, if the object is artificial, these magnetic signatures might represent an advanced propulsion or communication system. Joe Rogan's podcast has highlighted these anomalies with an air of both intrigue and alarm. In one episode, a physicist explained how humanity might interpret such signals if they were indeed deliberate transmissions. Could they be a form of interstellar Morse code, an attempt to communicate with us? Or might they serve some other unknown purpose, like scanning our solar system or sending data back to its point of origin? The possibility of deliberate communication raises existential questions about how humanity should respond. Should we send a signal back? Should we remain silent to avoid attracting attention? These are questions without clear answers, and they reveal just how unprepared we are for scenarios like this. Another mystery surrounding Oumuamua 2 is its trajectory. As mentioned earlier, it's not moving like a typical asteroid or comet. Instead of following a smooth, predictable arc, its path appears to shift slightly in ways that cannot be explained solely by gravitational forces. Some experts propose that this could be due to an unknown propulsion mechanism. If Oumuamua 2 is artificial, it might have an internal system guiding its movement, possibly even a system designed to seek out specific types of celestial bodies or solar systems. The speed of the object also raises eyebrows. At over 200,000 kilometers per hour, it's moving faster than any natural object of its size should be. While this speed initially seemed to be a natural product of interstellar travel, scientists now wonder if there could be another explanation. One theory is that the object gained speed from a phenomenon known as a gravitational slingshot, using the gravity of stars or planets to accelerate. But its approach to Earth suggests precision, almost as if its trajectory was intentionally calibrated to intersect with our solar system. The question of intentionality looms large in scientific and public debates. Is it possible that Oumuamua 2 is part of a larger network of interstellar probes? If so, what is its purpose? Some theorists believe that it might be a scout, sent ahead to gather data about potential habitable worlds or civilizations. This idea aligns with the concept of a von Neumann probe, a self-replicating spacecraft capable of exploring vast stretches of space. Others suggest that it could be an ancient relic, a piece of technology from a long-dead civilization, drifting aimlessly through the cosmos. As Rogan discussed these possibilities with his guests, the conversation turned toward humanity's readiness, or lack thereof, for contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. The sobering reality is that we have no unified global protocol for such an event. While organizations like SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, have established guidelines for detecting alien signals, these protocols are largely theoretical. In practice, governments, scientists, and the public would likely respond in chaotic and conflicting ways. Some nations might attempt to establish contact, while others might see the object as a threat and prepare for a defensive response. The lack of preparedness is even more troubling when considering the potential impact of Oumuamua 2 if it were to collide with Earth. While its trajectory is not yet fully understood, the possibility of an impact cannot be ruled out. If this were to happen, the consequences would be catastrophic. An object of this size and speed would release an energy equivalent to millions of nuclear bombs, creating a global extinction event. The shockwave alone would devastate entire continents, while the debris thrown into the atmosphere would trigger a nuclear winter, plunging the planet into darkness and drastically altering the climate. Given these stakes, space agencies and private companies are racing against time to devise potential mitigation strategies. One idea is to use nuclear weapons to deflect the object, a concept that has been explored in numerous simulations. However, the success of such a mission is far from guaranteed. The sheer size and speed of Oumuamua 2 make it a formidable target, and any miscalculation could exacerbate the problem. Another proposal involves deploying spacecraft equipped with powerful lasers to gradually alter the object's trajectory. But this technology is still in its infancy, and there's no guarantee it would work in time. Meanwhile, the public response to Oumuamua 2 has been a mix of fascination and fear. Social media platforms are flooded with theories, ranging from the plausible to the outlandish. Some users speculate that the object is a harbinger of doom, sent by an advanced alien civilization to judge humanity. Others see it as an opportunity, a chance to make first contact and expand our understanding of the universe. Conspiracy theories abound, with claims that governments are hiding the true nature of Oumuamua 2 to prevent mass panic. One of the most controversial theories suggests that Oumuamua 2 could be connected to ancient civilizations on Earth. Proponents of this idea argue that the object's arrival might not be random. Instead, it could be linked to ancient records and myths that describe visits from celestial beings or objects. Could Oumuamua 2 be returning to a planet it has visited before? And if so, what does that mean for our understanding of history and humanity's place in the cosmos? Joe Rogan's guests explored this idea with a mix of skepticism and curiosity. They pointed to ancient texts and artifacts that seem to describe advanced technologies or beings from the stars. While mainstream science dismisses these accounts as mythology, the arrival of Oumuamua 2 forces us to reconsider what might be possible. If civilizations capable of interstellar travel existed in the past, could they have left traces of their knowledge or technology on Earth? And if so, how would we recognize those traces today? As the discussion delved deeper into the implications of Oumuamua 2, one thing became clear. Humanity is at a crossroads. The arrival of this object challenges us to think beyond our immediate concerns and consider the broader context of our existence. Are we alone in the universe, or are we part of a larger cosmic community? If Oumuamua 2 is a message or a probe, what will it reveal about our neighbors in the galaxy? And how will we respond? The story of Oumuamua 2 is still unfolding, and the coming months will be critical. Scientists, governments, and the public will need to work together to unravel the mysteries of this enigmatic object. Whether it's a natural phenomenon, an ancient relic, or a sign of extraterrestrial intelligence, one thing is certain: Oumuamua 2 has captured our imagination and forced us to confront the unknown. In doing so, it reminds us of the limitless possibilities of the universe and the profound questions that await us as we continue to explore the final frontier. The scientific community finds itself in an unprecedented state of urgency and speculation over Oumuamua 2. With each passing day, new data is being collected and new theories emerge, some grounded in hard science, others bordering on the speculative. But amidst the rising tension, one thing is certain: the object has captivated the world, forcing humanity to consider its place in the cosmos. One of the more mysterious aspects of Oumuamua 2 is its irregular shape. High-resolution scans indicate it is neither a perfect sphere nor a cigar-like structure, as seen in the first Oumuamua. Instead, it has jagged, uneven edges and appears almost crystalline in some areas, while others seem smoother, possibly from erosion or polishing by interstellar dust over millennia. This unusual geometry further deepens the mystery. Could such a structure naturally form, or is it the result of purposeful design? Scientists working with NASA and the European Space Agency, ESA, are now focusing their attention on the object's reflective and refractive properties. Early light analysis reveals that portions of Oumuamua 2 are transparent, suggesting materials that are unfamiliar to us. Imagine a crystal-like structure, dense and nearly impenetrable, but capable of reflecting and refracting light in complex ways. If artificial, such a material might serve an advanced purpose, gathering energy from starlight, protecting delicate internal systems, or cloaking the object from detection. As for its movements, they seem far too calculated to be random. Some astronomers have suggested the object is capable of light sailing, a propulsion method that harnesses the energy of photons from stars. This technique has been theorized for human spacecraft designs, but seeing it potentially in action on a scale like this would be revolutionary. If the object is indeed using a light sail-like mechanism, then it was either designed or modified for optimal interstellar travel. A more chilling possibility arises when experts discuss the behavior of this object. What if Oumuamua 2 is an exploratory probe? One programmed to enter star systems and assess planets with potential for advanced life. If so, what happens next? Will it merely observe, or is it sending data back to an unknown source, a parent system, or even an interstellar civilization? The global space race to study and possibly intercept the object has taken on geopolitical dimensions. NASA has accelerated its deep space reconnaissance initiative, while private space agencies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are rumored to be drafting proposals for missions aimed at capturing more detailed observations. China and Russia have similarly stepped up their space exploration programs, with reports leaking that both nations are exploring militarized strategies for dealing with interstellar threats. However, most scientists warn against any militaristic or aggressive actions, as they could provoke unintended consequences if the object is indeed a product of intelligent design. Joe Rogan has continued to amplify these discussions on his platform, hosting guests who range from astrophysicists to military experts to speculative theorists. One particularly intense episode featured a retired general who discussed the likelihood that governments already have contingency plans in place for interstellar objects. He suggested that shadowy programs within major powers, including the US, have been preparing for scenarios like this for decades. According to the general, secret research facilities have developed advanced defensive technologies capable of intercepting objects entering Earth's orbit. But is this mere speculation, or is there a kernel of truth to these claims? Meanwhile, public fascination with Oumuamua 2 has skyrocketed. Online forums and social media platforms are buzzing with theories. Some see it as a harbinger of doom, an omen signaling an end to humanity's dominion over Earth. Others view it as an opportunity, a potential first contact with beings that might hold answers to some of our deepest questions about existence. But amidst the curiosity, there's also fear. The doomsday scenarios tied to Oumuamua 2 continue to circulate. What if the object isn't merely observing, but actively analyzing Earth for its resources? The metallic elements detected on Oumuamua 2's surface hint at materials far denser and rarer than those found on Earth. If the object is linked to a civilization capable of harnessing such materials, it raises unsettling questions about their intentions. Would they see Earth as a potential ally, or simply a resource-rich planet ripe for exploitation? One particular theory gaining traction is that Oumuamua 2 might be part of a larger network, a swarm of similar objects dispatched to explore, colonize, or extract resources from multiple systems simultaneously. This concept aligns with the idea of interstellar mining fleets that some futurists have theorized for humanity's eventual foray into space colonization. Could an advanced civilization, one far older and more technologically advanced than ours, have sent out such a fleet millennia ago? And if so, what does the arrival of Oumuamua 2 signify? Is it merely an explorer, or is it the precursor to something much larger? The theological implications of Oumuamua 2's arrival are also sparking heated debates. For centuries, humanity's place in the universe has been defined by religious and philosophical frameworks. The discovery of potential extraterrestrial intelligence threatens to upend these long-held beliefs. Some religious leaders are grappling with how to reconcile their teachings with the possibility of advanced alien life. Would such beings be seen as divine creations, like humans, or as something entirely separate? And how would their existence reshape humanity's understanding of spirituality and the cosmos? Interestingly, ancient texts and mythologies from various cultures are being revisited in light of this discovery. Many of these texts describe celestial beings, flying objects, or visitations from the heavens. Could these stories, long dismissed as folklore or metaphor, have been based on real encounters? If so, Oumuamua 2 might not be the first object of its kind to visit Earth. Instead, it could represent the return of something humanity has encountered before, but failed to understand. Joe Rogan has explored these angles with both skepticism and fascination, often asking his guests whether humanity's collective memory might contain clues about past encounters. He's drawn comparisons to ancient artifacts like the Nazca lines, the pyramids, and other enigmatic structures that defy easy explanation. Could these be remnants of interactions with previous interstellar visitors? And if so, what lessons can we learn from them as we face the arrival of Oumuamua 2? As scientists and thinkers wrestle with these questions, the clock is ticking. Current models estimate that Oumuamua 2 will pass within a potentially hazardous distance of Earth in just under a year. The data suggests it won't directly collide with our planet, but its proximity will be closer than many would find comfortable. In response, space agencies are preparing to launch a series of probes to intercept the object. These missions aim to gather critical data on its composition, trajectory, and potential origins. However, the success of these missions is far from guaranteed. The speed and size of Oumuamua 2 make it a challenging target, and there's always the risk of unintentional damage to the probes. Or worse, an accidental escalation if the object proves to be artificial and reactive. Adding to the tension is the fact that not all data about Oumuamua 2 is being shared publicly. Classified documents leaked online suggest that governments may be withholding information about the object's nature and potential risks. This lack of transparency is fueling conspiracy theories and deepening public distrust. Some believe that Oumuamua 2 represents an existential threat that governments are downplaying to prevent panic. Others argue that the secrecy might be an attempt to secure technological advantages if the object contains advanced materials or systems. Despite these challenges, humanity is also rising to the occasion in remarkable ways. The global scientific community is working together like never before, pooling resources, expertise, and technology to understand this enigmatic object. From radio telescopes scanning for potential signals to physicists running complex simulations of its trajectory, every possible angle is being explored. This collaborative spirit serves as a reminder of what humanity can achieve when united by a common purpose. Yet, for all the advancements in science and technology, the arrival of Oumuamua 2 forces us to confront a humbling truth. Our knowledge of the universe is still in its infancy. Each new discovery reveals how little we truly understand about the cosmos and our place within it. But perhaps that's the greatest gift of Oumuamua 2. It challenges us to think bigger, to question our assumptions, and to dream of what might be possible in the vast expanse of space. The final chapters of this story are yet to be written. Whether Oumuamua 2 turns out to be a natural anomaly, an ancient relic, or a sign of intelligent life, it will forever change how we see the universe. And as Joe Rogan aptly puts it, this discovery is a wake-up call for humanity. A reminder that we are part of something much larger and far more mysterious than we can currently comprehend.